Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another exciting podcast here today, presented by the Bro Code Podcast ATL, also presented by iHeartMedia. This is Kennedy's Corner, of course, your latest in sports-related news. And boy, howdy, let me tell you guys something. Over the past weekend, we've had so much incredible sporting events, whether it's from NFL and NBA. NBA's opening weekend has officially started for all of the networks out there, including Prime, because we did get to see that new Prime Studio set, and it looks quite amazing. So without further ado, on Kennedy's Corner, presented and powered by the Bro Code Podcast ATL, let's get down into the latest news in the sports world, ladies and gentlemen.
A thrilling start to the NBA season came to a screeching halt on Thursday when Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, and former player and coach Damon Jones were arrested as part of FBI investigations into illegal sports betting and rigged poker games. Questions remain on the status of those investigations. And while those indictments overshadow the opening days of the NBA's 81st season, its first handful of games showed us plenty about what could be next on the court. With that in mind, we checked in with league coaches, scouts, and executives on what stood out across the opening week of the regular season. Nothing, though, matched the buzz around the league after Victor Wembanyama's evisceration of the Dallas Mavericks Wednesday night, a performance that felt like a warning to the rest of the NBA. Wembanyama, who missed the back half of last season after a deep vein thrombosis diagnosis, had a busy summer off the court. But when he spoke to the media at the start of training camp, he made sure to emphasize that for whatever people saw on social media, he wasn't spending the summer relaxing. I can assure you nobody has trained like I did this summer, Wembanyama said, and this is my best summer so far. I can tell the progress is just incredible. I feel better, I look stronger, and the scale says I'm heavier. So everything is a green light. In the wake of Wembanyama's impressive 40-point showing in Dallas, those preseason comments now feel like an early declaration of what was to come this season. It could have been taken as Wembanyama being arrogant, but he said it in a simple, matter-of-fact tone, both because it is just what he truly believes and because he is capable of doing things virtually no one else has ever contemplated, let alone been able to achieve. After watching him toy with Dallas, there was a clear recognition that if he keeps going like this, it's going to take a lot of luck to slow him down. He's clearly gotten bigger, stronger, more aggressive, playing with more force, a Western Conference scout said, and he's going to take over the whole fucking league if he stays healthy. In the preseason, scouts started to notice something about Wembanyama. In lieu of launching from deep, he was playing bully ball. After hoisting a whopping 8.8 3-pointers per game last year, nearly half of the 19 shots he was averaging per game, and nearly 4 more per night than during his rookie season, Wembanyama was going the opposite way. He was driving to the basket, looking to establish position, and even seeking contact. Last season, only 40% of his shots were in the paint in the preseason, albeit a small sample size. That number soared to 75%. After averaging 6 free throws per 100 possessions last season, it leapt to 11.8 per 100 in the preseason. So when Wembanyama dropped 40 in the season opener in Dallas, stealing the show from number 1 pick Cooper Flagg's debut with a tour de force of basket attacks, it verified the hand he started to show the league. Wembanyama took just 2 3-pointers, his fewest in a game since his rookie season. He took fewer than 5 threes once all season. He had 11 free throws against the Mavericks. That happened once in a regulation game last year, said one team source. He's relishing playing bully ball. After Amen Thompson left the season opener in overtime with cramps, Rockets coach Ime Udoka went with big man Alperen Sengun as the de facto point guard. In the wake of losing Fred VanVleet and the commitment for the still raw Thompson to be the team's primary point guard, there's a debate among league executives about whether the Rockets will eventually need to acquire a veteran point guard as a trusty option. Their answer is on the roster. I'm a believer in Reed Shepherd, and he will step into that role alongside Thompson, a veteran executive said. You can focus on what he can't do, but I followed him since he was a teenager, and all he's done is overcome doubters. Just give him time. But Again, there's a debate. Shepard is such a target on defense, it'll be tough to play him at times, a league scout said. He doesn't have good awareness. He doesn't show good feel, and he's often out of position. He does have good hands. Shepard defended 11 drives in the Rockets' opening loss to the Thunder, and he was blown by 5 times, according to ESPN research. Although Houston didn't win the game and likely won't have Van Vliet back at any point this season after he tore his ACL last month, the Rockets came out of Tuesday's loss having earned a ton of respect from the NBA cognoscenti that was led by the performance Sengun had. Not only did he have 39 points, but his 5 3-pointers on Tuesday were a remarkable contrast to the 21 triples he made all of last season. If he does that, an assistant coach said of Sengun's shooting, it's a game changer for them. And while rival teams are not expecting Sengun to make several 3-pointers every night, the big man looked comfortable enough that opposing scouts and executives did buy it as a real development. Sengun also earned plaudits for his vision and shot creation, and whether Thompson, Shepard, or another player is Houston's answer at point guard, Sengun will spend plenty of time as the Rockets' offensive hub. Going up against the best team in the league Tuesday night, it produced big-time results. And I see he's way better than I ever thought he would be. And the thing that's impressive about him is he's got a really strong command of the game as far as directing traffic, a scout said. He's thinking the game at a higher level than a lot of his teammates. They know it, and they're following his lead. Kuminga's contract negotiations as a restricted free agent provided drama all summer long in the Bay Area. But for all the noise that came along with those negotiations, if Kuminga can play like he did Tuesday against the Los Angeles Lakers, playing with energy and effort, sharing the ball, and working on defense, he can be more than useful for Golden State. He did what he needed to do, a Western Conference assistant coach said. But what stood out about Kuminga's performance went beyond his box score statistics. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 turnover. At least in the eyes of one executive, it was seeing Kuminga playing like someone thriving in his role. Like, forget the shooting. Forget the couple plays where he scored. Forget when he guarded Luka, they said. But he was playing with a smile on his face. I just haven't seen much of that from him. It's always been him having a chip on his shoulder and looking like he's proving himself. He's guarding a couple positions, playing hard. I think you'll see more games like that than more DNPS like in the playoffs. You won't see Al Horford Friday night when the Warriors play in Portland. He won't play back-to-backs, and he's going to have limited minutes by design in the regular season. But while Kuminga's contract situation dominated the conversation around the Warriors over the summer, Horford's addition was sometimes overlooked, but not by those in the know. Horford was one of the best signings in the league over the summer. It broke our hearts because we wanted him badly, an Eastern Conference executive said, and they got him for $5 million. Well, $5.6 million, but the point remains. For a team that needs size but craves shooting and versatility, Horford is an ideal fit. Yes, it was one game. Yes, it was one game being played without LeBron James. But for the concerns about the supporting cast around Luka Doncic and James this season and its viability to lift this team into contention status, Tuesday's loss did little to quell them. DeAndre Ayton had an ineffectual 10 points and 6 rebounds in 34 minutes, and no other player reached double figures outside of Doncic and Austin Reeves. Marcus Smart struggled mightily off the bench. The supporting cast was a combined 5 for 17 from three-point range and had little hope of doing anything to slow Golden State down defensively. Luka is awesome, one scout said, and the rest of the team is who we thought they were. Reeves was good until he ran out of gas because he had to do so much. But outside of them, I couldn't tell you who their third best player was. With ESPN's Shams Charania reporting that James is targeting a mid-November return, the Lakers will be without the league's all-time leading scorer for around 15 games to start the season. Can the Lakers survive in the brutal West until James returns without digging themselves too big of a hole? They have a chance because Luka doing that isn't a one-off performance, the scout said of Doncic's 43-point night against the Warriors. They need some of these other guys to step up. So can they survive it? Yes, they'll have games where some of these guys hit shots, but you look at their roster and it's 1, 2, 3, it's and 2 is out. It's and then a huge gap. An assistant coach put it simply, Luka is going to have to do what he did every night just to give them a chance. Lakers coach J.J. Redick tried to nip the idea that James' body language was an issue in the bud. He said the day after the opener that James was very active and helpful in the Lakers' full study after the loss. It was a clear, nothing to see here maneuver, even if it was totally true. Be that as it may, the Lakers clearly missed James on the floor. I know it's crazy to say, but their 40-year-old is maybe still their best transition player, one West Scout said. When he's not out there, they are less dynamic. Doncic might be their centerpiece and offensive leader, and Reeves might improve on his 20 points per game average from last year. But James is still an offensive engine, and his absence is already felt. One thing you can say for LeBron that's been true for more than 20 years, it finally happened. The reservoir of patience that New York Giants quarterback Russell Wilson had drawn from for the entirety of his 14-year NFL career had dried up. And for at least one tweet, the usually tight-lipped signal caller stopped giving a damn. Classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media, he tweeted after Denver Broncos coach Sean Payton appeared to take a jab at Wilson being benched for rookie Jackson Dart. They found a little spark with that quarterback. I was talking to Giants co-owner John Mara not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. Payton said after the Broncos' stunning 33-32 comeback win over the Giants. Payton and Wilson joined forces in Denver for the 2023 season, with the coach setting the tempo before the season by telling his star quarterback to stop kissing all the babies, another jab at Wilson's manicured image. On October 22, Payton said, in no way, shape, or form did he mean to insult Wilson, and that he saw his former players' comments. I did see it, Payton said. In the euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart, and that was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. And I might be able to see how he might perceive that. Coming off that win and watching how Dart played, that wasn't any intention at all. The tweet was such an about-face from Wilson Inc. that some folks thought his superstar entertainer wife, Sierra, hit send from her husband's account. If only the continuing disrespect of black quarterbacks would experience a 180-degree turn, the legacy of taking cheap shots at black quarterbacks by coaches and upper management endures, even with the collective of African-American starters making an unprecedented leap. It could be argued that Wilson has been disrespected for much of his career, which calls back to the time when on-field rivals such as Colin Kaepernick and Cam Newton faced similar treatment. Russ and Cap were seen as supplementary pieces for dominating defenses. Meanwhile, Cam was slandered for his style of play and swagger. Years later, it is apparent that the indignity of being benched for a rookie quarterback or being thrown under the bus by your owner after the Jets' 0-7 start isn't enough for so-called leaders in high places. One of the worst owners in sports and the overseer of a quarterback graveyard thought it would be a good idea to throw his young quarterback under the bus. The offense is just not clicking, and you can't run the ball if you can't pass the ball. New York Jets owner Woody Johnson said in an indictment of starting quarterback Justin Fields, who the Jets signed to a 2-year, $40 million deal in the offseason with $30 million in guarantees. That's football 101. The worst owner label isn't just a designation I'm making. In February, Johnson was the only NFL owner to receive a failing grade from his team's players via a survey conducted by the NFL Players Association. Here are some lowlights. The NFLPA said the players cite perceived top leadership issues, with some describing issues as top-down problems. NFLPA Chief Strategy Officer J.C. Tretter to reporters at the Scouting Combine, referring to the Jets survey, the players said, it's a culture of fear here, and I think that stood out in those grades. Rather than addressing concerns, players believe that management responded to feedback by making conditions worse, the NFLPA said. Singularly blaming Fields for the Jets' woes makes as much sense as running a fake punt at midfield on 4th and 11 in a tie game. Oh, wait, that happened at Fields' expense as well. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years, which is more than half of Johnson's tenure as owner. And while the quarterback carousel in New York hasn't spun quite as fast as the one in Cleveland, it is disconcerting to see
the success that former Jets such as Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold are having while Johnson's group can't get out of the starting block. It's unlikely, but let's say Tyrod Taylor shines over the next month. It's even less likely now since Taylor was ruled out with a knee injury on Saturday, just as he was reportedly in line to start against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. The opportunity to move Fields, and certainly the young quarterback's trade stock, has been torpedoed by a reckless rant from the Jets owner. It's enough to make Jets enthusiasts of all generations lament their affiliation with the struggling football team, as evidenced by an online exchange between a content creator and a fan. Thoughts on the game? The content creator asked. I hate this team, the fan responded. I was born into this. I'm always a Jets fan, just I hate this team. If only the disrespect was simply reserved for quarterbacks on teams with losing records. The Philadelphia Eagles are the reigning Super Bowl champions and have a 5-2 record. And that wraps up Kennedy's Corner here today. We hope that you guys enjoy this episode with the latest in sports news. We want to say tune in for Broco Podcast ATL later this evening as we have the fellows back in the studio of K.L.P Studios to give their more takes on sports information and sport-related news for sure. Until then, this has been Kennedy's Corner. I've been the podcast host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas, here to say we'll see you guys later tonight. Stay swanky and have a great rest of your day.